Mm. Most people think being good at a job means they can run a business, but that's not always true. Let's talk about the essential steps to building a scalable NP-owned business. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner, and I use social media to share my journey as someone who specializes in dermatology, nursing education, and research. And we're building Mahogany Dermatology, nursing education, and research right now with my biggest launch ever, which is an 8-week intensive business coaching program with Jasmine Starr. I come on a weekly every Sunday with my NP Entrepreneur series. Been doing that for a year now, and 2 years on the Mahogany Dermatology blog, where I share helpful resources for you, free information, answering your questions, and keeping you up to date on what's going on, both in the specialty of dermatology, but also when it comes to running a business. As you can see by the title, today we're going to be talking about the one thing you really need to know when it comes to starting a business. Just because you're good at giving an injection and you understand Botox and filler, that is not the essential skill you need to run a business. And we're going to get into those details today. Every week we can continue a conversation. It's an ongoing conversation. And we always start with health and wellness. That's the most important thing we can do. It's what we do for our patients. That's what we get paid for. And it's the most important thing we can do for ourselves. So the best way to role model that is to show up, is to do it with you. And so updates, I always give you updates on my own health. I have scheduled my dentist appointment. Yay! I was planning to schedule some more appointments today, but I had some friends come into town, and so that didn't happen. We're in the middle of batch contenting. So even though I update video, give you a new video every Sunday, I batch content usually some random time of the week, and I let it be live in public because I love filming live. I love having you with me, answering your questions live. And so if you follow, like, and subscribe, you'll be notified when I go live, and you can join me and I can answer your questions directly, especially those of you who are waiting for video chats. My calendar was full for the month of February when February started. And so some of you are patiently waiting for a call. But if you come here, I can answer your question right now. So yeah, updates on health, dentist appointment is scheduled. Still using the walking pad, lifting weights, juicing. There's a farmer's market right near the church that I attend. Oh, speaking of church, I joined the church here. So we have new members classes that will be starting soon. We were also emailed a survey to identify our spiritual gift. It's 108 questions. Last video, I told you over and over, as an NP entrepreneur, 2 things are true. Time and capital are limited. When I saw 108, I had to ask the Lord for forgiveness because I couldn't do that at the moment. And so I'll be doing that this weekend. Most of our sessions will be virtual, but I think she said once a quarter or every other month or something like that, they're in person. And so in addition, because I do have to drive down to Houston for that, I don't live in Houston proper. I live outside of that. And so it's like a 30-minute drive to get there. And then, but they have people assigned to you locally based on your zip code. So I'm looking forward to meeting the people in my zip code. Speaking of meeting people in my zip code, yesterday I saw a Black lady walking, and I ran up to her and I said, I had to introduce myself because I haven't really seen that many Black women. And she was kind enough to befriend me. And lo and behold, she aspires to be in medicine. She wants to be a psychiatrist, actually. And so we chatted about that and networking, exchange contact information. And so I don't know if she Googled me, but if you're watching, hi, friend. And she gave me the contact information for a dermatologist. So yeah, speaking of dermatology, so remember not too long ago, I shared with you my glasses haul. Remember, I think in December when I bought all these glasses. No, they're all here too, well, except for one of them. Remember when I did this haul? Well, one of these glasses has given me some hyperpigmentation where my glasses sit. I think it's these, the ones that I was wearing to drive. And so see how these have like these little pads on the inside? These. So I don't know if it's the material itself, like how you get cheap, because these are cheap. If when you get a cheap ring and it leaves a band, I don't know if it was hot because it's Texas, and then I put them on, or it was hot when I was driving, and so they got warm and they left a mark, or a combination of that, or the pressure, because they do leave a mark after I'm done. So anyway, I stopped wearing these, because the hyperpigmentation is the shape of these. So I just assumed it was them. So I did call Leah today, my derm PA. She's about to go on maternity leave soon, to see if we can switch my compound back. Last year when I started seeing her, we had one that had hydroquinone in it. We did that for 6 months, I think, 4%. And then I haven't used it maybe since June, roughly. So I called today to see if she would be comfortable adding it back in or if she needed to see me again. But they made that prescription. I'm sure she's ready to go on maternity leave. And so they'll be shipping that out to me on Monday. And then I'll keep you posted on that progress. So we might notice some changes in my skin over the next few weeks. And that would be why. So that's health update. Let's do our devotional, and then we'll hop into the topic. So yeah, part of the health and wellness update that we do every week includes, mental, physical, spiritual, financial health. Sometimes I cover all of them. Sometimes I'll just mention one or two. And so let's pull up our devotional. And while I'm doing that, if you're watching, when you're watching this or the replay, or you're joining me live, please let me know what idea you have for your business. What would be your offer? We talked about offers in the last video, and I told you the 4 offers that we are kind of focusing on in this biggest launch ever. Which, just saying that, biggest launch ever, it just gets me so excited. Our ebooks, courses, memberships, and coaching. Oh, let's do a prayer today. You want to in the mood for a prayer? Okay, let's do this one. I see someone's with us. We're going to pray, and then we'll get into our topic. God, it can be difficult to love those who have mistreated me, but I know you love them, so I want to love them too. Encourage me to pray for those I am too hurt to be around. Give me the courage to go out of my way and to be kind to those who are unkind, and provide me with the strength I need to forgive. You are the judge, not me, and I am just as unworthy of your love. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so our topic, so let's get into it. So last week, I kind of hinted at you need to know the goal for your business. And when you tell me the goal for your business, I need to hear numbers, I need to hear metrics, right? It's not the patient's transformation. Yes, that's a benefit, but the business itself, I want to hear business talk, right? So when I sit with these NP entrepreneurs, that's what I say. What's the goal for your business? Where are you trying to go? And that's what I'm answering myself, right? And I know it's important to have an exit strategy. So when I put together the podcast, the Melanin Initiative podcast, from the beginning, so the answer to the question for this video is you need to have a team. So we're going to talk about what it takes to put together a team. So when I put together the podcast, from the get-go, I wasn't going to do it if I didn't have partners. And so I contacted everyone and I said, hey, I want to do this podcast. Are you interested? Alicia and Geraldine said yes. So from the beginning, it was always a team mindset, from the concept, names, branding, mission, values, filming schedule, ideas for growth. And so all the accounts, all the passwords, everything was the idea that someone else is going to use this, needs to access it, needs to know what it means. It needs to make sense from the very beginning. There's no need to come back later and do it over. When I orient a lot of people, especially when I used to orient at the bedside, they always want to go back and do things again. I'll fix it later. I'll rewrite it. And why don't we just do it right the first time? And so that's my recommendation for you. When you're building things, it should all be separate. First of all, just for business sake, right? Separate business accounts, separate emails. Even with Jade, that was one of the things we did right up front. Make sure you're ready to have to be a public figure, right? So that means everything from your social media to your email to a phone number. Because once you put yourself out there, you start making contact and networking, people are going to stay in touch with you. You need to be able to have information you share that you're comfortable sharing. Same thing with accounts, right? Down to the password. And then everything's always written. How many accounts do we have? What's the password? What's the email? Anything, right? From the very beginning is super helpful. Even once you get ready to scale, even if you're saying, oh, well, I'm just starting small, that's not important. At some point, you're not going to be small. You're going to need other people. And you're going to be in the middle of already running your business. You're really not going to have the time to go back and set up a structure. So whenever I recommend books, the first book I ever recommend for people who are really new to this, the first one is The Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. It just teaches you about the different ways to think about money, that mind shift that you have to take. You have to shift the way you think about time and money. And remember, it's the 4 quadrants. So you have the employee, that's all of us, the worker bees in the country. That's society creates worker bees, because the society are the people who are the capitalists, and they needed worker bees. So they created a system that makes it very attractive to want to do the work and to work for someone else. So we all grow up in that environment. Some people just grow up in homes, neighborhoods, communities where entrepreneurship is taught or seen. But society as a whole is all about creating worker bees. So you have your employee, you have your self-employed, which is how most of us start, or most of you start, right? And you might stay there unless you have a better strategy. But the goal, and so your goal a lot of us might start over here, but our goal shouldn't stay over here. Then you come to the other side of the quadrant. So these people only make money when they show up. On the other side of the quadrant, which is the goal, that's the goal for your business, is to be able to make money in your sleep. So then you have your business owners. That's what we're going to be helping you become, as a business owner. Just because you do something like administer Botox, and you're good at it, that doesn't mean that means you're a good business owner. It means you're good at doing Botox. And eventually, if you're going to be on the other side of the quadrant, you won't be doing that either. So who cares how good you are? You need to be good at running a business. So business owners on this side, and then investor, right? When you can invest in helping other people start their business, when you can be the one writing the checks, that's the goal. So I love this new analogy that I have. It's like the football player, right? We all want to be the football player. They get all the attention. Draft day, right? They're all over the news. We are the football player, the NP, right? The nurse practitioner. We all, because that looks like the fun part. That's the one that gets all the attention. That's one that everybody's talking about, is the football player, the NP entrepreneur. But when you take a step back, you realize that those players have no game without someone calling the plays. Who's calling the plays? The coach. Oh, so maybe it's the coach that's really having all the fun. Maybe that's where I should be. That's the NP entrepreneur, especially the newbie, right? That's your first thought. I like Botox. It's better than, I'm burnt out over here. This is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go be the coach. The coach is still putting in work, though, right? And if you take another step back, you say, well, there wouldn't be any players and there wouldn't be no coach if there wasn't a stadium. So then I said, well, I want to be the person who built the stadium. And look, you can keep going. Someone else is going to say, well, it wouldn't be a stadium if there wasn't a city, and you can keep going, but you get what I'm saying, right? So the goal isn't to be the football player, right? Because even that is limited, right? That's not a career that has longevity. Neither is doing Botox the rest of your life, right? Think about all the things that you can do around the Botox that don't require you to be there to make the money. That's where I want you to take your mindset, okay? From the beginning. So I had the fortune of listening to Myron Golden and Kiwana McDonald. Myron Golden is a millionaire, and he teaches business principles using the Bible. And he does a lot of coaching. And so, he used to do Bible studies, like free Bible studies in person where he lived. And then he took them to YouTube, and he's almost at 1 million followers now on YouTube. And he's still doing Bible study. It's like the art and style that people don't realize he's doing Bible study, but he's actually doing Bible study in every single video. Anyway, so he has this lady come on. We're talking. So you're going to watch that video as a consumer, like the information she's sharing as an NP entrepreneur. You're going to say, oh, this is very valuable for my business. But I want you to take another step back and evaluate what they're doing. So they're on social media. He has her on. How did she get in that seat? Myron's not going to do anything that he's not making money from. She's likely one of the clients he coached at some point. And she probably was a VIP client. She paid for that one-on-one time, right? So that's what we're witnessing. Someone who paid a high ticket off, who bought a high ticket offer. And that got her to sit here with Myron. And now they're talking about solving one pain problem. But in that conversation, she's demonstrating her expertise at solving this one pain problem, how she's obsessed over this problem, what she has done to become someone qualified to obsess and solve this problem. Throughout the whole conversation, she's sharing testimonials. She's not saying, oh, here's a testimonial, let me tell you. She would just say, hey, one of the clients I used to work for, when I was talking to one of my clients went through this journey. Oh yeah, my client who used to make this and they were trying to do that. It's very casual, right? She's just sharing, but she's giving testimonials. She's showing you her track record. Okay. And so they go through this whole conversation. She says, look, most people identify a job, Botox, that they're good at and they think they can run a business med spa because of that. She says the first step in building a business is identify a problem you can solve. Sounds familiar, right? Obsess over that problem. Identify your target audience. We're going to get to that. So at the end of that conversation, what's going to happen? What's going to happen at the end of that conversation? She's going to make her pitch. She's going to pitch you guys. I'm telling you. So casually, he's like, hey, how can people find out more about this? And throughout the conversation, she kind of hints a little bit, that there's more. She keeps mentioning a template. Like she's probably mentioned the template 20 times. So now we're at the end of that conversation. Just so happens she's working on a book. He said, oh, you're working on a book? Of course he knows she's working on a book. Now, what surprised me is when he says, when's the book going to be ready? I'm thinking, she's like, well, it's got to be ready. And that's what I'm thinking at the end of the month, in 4 weeks, this quarter. She says, by the end of the year. So even I and Myron are like, what? The end of the year? Why is it going to take that long? So he says, so if you didn't know then, you know now, because he goes on to say, okay, now I'm going to coach you. Because at that whole time, she's demonstrating her coaching style to her potential client. That's what she was doing. So now he's like, look, after this, we are going to sit down and I'm going to help you get this book out by the end of the month. He said, do you have a title? And she's like, well, I've had 20 titles. This is the entrepreneur. This is the entrepreneur in our glory. And he's like, okay, I'm going to help you with that too, right? So he's going to help her to execute, get it done. If I remember, I'll put that link in the description box too. And why am I doing that? Why am I telling you that? Because it helps draw the algorithm to my content. The people that they're targeting, I'm targeting, right? Remember, I talked to you about this a few weeks ago. So everything we're doing, we're demonstrating how to do it. Okay, so first steps to building your business. Find a problem you can solve. It needs to be something you're kind of passionate about because you have to obsess over the problem. Now, the problem you solve now is going to evolve because your target is going to tell you what they want from you. So that's why you can't have a perfect plan. You can't have a perfect strategy because you don't have any feedback yet. The feedback is going to tell you what direction to go. That's my business is based on your feedback. Yes, I came in wanting to do the same thing you want to do, but your feedback, my interaction with you, me getting out here and trying to do something has led to this business to solve your problem, our problem, your target audience. Who are you talking to? You need to have their name, what they look like, what they wear, where they eat, where they shop. This is how you're going to identify all your marketing strategies too, right? Someone said you should be able to write 100 characters. I think it might have been Rachel Rogers, 100 characteristics and traits about your target. If you can say that much about someone, you're probably going to nail them down, right? Even if you don't get to 100, try to get to 50. I think you can do 50 because I know your time and capital are limited. And then you're going to identify a strategy for solving that problem. And the most important thing, how you're going to scale that, the way you're going to scale your solution to solve that problem. Initially, oh yeah, I want to decrease their wrinkles by giving this Botox. But over time, how is that going to be done for multiple people at one time without you being the one to do it? That's the strategy. Can you come up with that on your own? No, you need a team. So she says in the beginning, you need to identify the right people. I've told you 2 things are important when it comes to business: finding the right people and investing in them. Because again, it's your job to be the visionary, to sell the vision. That's a full-time job. You can't also be working the full-time job. So you need to find people who can carry out your vision. You need to be able to identify people who understand the industry that you want them to work in. Now, look, some of my friends out here, they've hired people to help them. And it's just because they said, yes, I will help. But the thing is, they lack strategy. They lack an understanding of the industry that you're in. It's super important that you have that, or that you're willing to find it quickly. So identify the right people and then invest in them. Find out, why are they here? What do they want to do? Right? That sounds great for your business, but also what's their dream too, right? You can't be naive and think they only want to help you grow. They have their own desires. Find out how you, just like that other business that you're going to keep in business, find out how the two of you can keep each other going, invest in each other. Maybe they have some ideas that can benefit your business. Invest in that, invest in them, make their life and their job easier so they can produce more for you. When you're hiring people, let's say it's social media. This is a huge popular one. So many MPs, they don't want to do social media. They want to learn about marketing because they're so focused on doing the injection of that Botox, right? That's not the end goal. So they just put marketing to the side. They're like, they tell you quickly, I haven't put any money into it. I'm just going on word of mouth, all these things, right? And they'll say, I hired my teenage niece, nephew, daughter, son because they're young, they're techie, they get it, they make content all the time. It's just like saying you went to Canva for a template. There's no marketing strategy behind that. Yes, someone can make you a flyer because they know how to use the platform, but how many steps did it take them to make that flyer? If I can get something done in 1 hour that takes you 4 hours to do, there's something we got to sit and talk about, right? So I would need to know, what are the steps that you're taking to get to the same outcome? Because maybe, and what we find is people who don't have strategy take 50 steps, where someone who does have a strategy, who has experience, who has an understanding, they can get there in 10. So now what you put out in 4 hours, someone can do that 4 times more. So I know the talk is like people are afraid of AI, that they're going to replace people, but that's not true. They're going to replace people who don't know how to use it, because you still have to give it prompts. You still have to check it for accuracy, and you still need to know how to get the outcome that's going to help you. Asking general questions is going to give you a general answer. Expert people think, look at expert problems and evaluate them with an expert lens. And so you can hire people who aren't necessarily experts, but they do need to understand efficiency and strategy. So that's the next thing, right? Build your team. So who are the first 2 people on your team? Because time and capital are limited. You're going to have a mentor. This is coming from that conversation with Myron and Kiwana. Mentor. Look, I never watched that episode before, but you've heard me talk about these themes. I told you the first book in the Ohio Dermatology Shop was the Your Nurse Mentorship Match. That's how important mentorship is. Even more so when you're new, because time and capital are limited. You don't have money to pay anyone, but you can get you a mentor, and you give your time and talent, get something in exchange, right? Don't just pick someone's brain. We talked about that too. They can help you. They can help you with strategy, with evaluating things, fail quick, pick short-term goals and things that you can execute quickly so you can fail fast and fix it fast. And then you can move on quickly too and grow faster. So the first 2 people you're going to hire are your mentor and your implementer. This is the person who's going to do the Botox, right? They're going to do the Botox. And they're going to help you put a system in place, right? You have to have a system. So I told you the first book I want you to read, if you're brand new, is Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. That's going to help you shift your mind about time and money and where your goal should really be. The next one is going to be Key Person of Influence, right? Because I need you to have a strategy on why you're out here. What are you going to do with all the information you're about to obtain? And that's going to help you have a strategy. You just follow that blueprint. The next book is Systemology by Jane. So I'll put it in the description box. I think his last name is Dan Jane or something like that. Or anyway, it's all about systems. You really need a notebook for that. You really should probably have either the hard copy or the ebook, because it's full of resources that you're going to want to have in your back pocket, or give to your implementer so they can create standard SOPs for you, right? These are the steps people are going to follow. All the people on your team from now to the next year, the year after that, so that no matter who's carrying out that action, you get the same outcome, right? You go to this McDonald's, you go to that McDonald's, the burger should look the same, it should taste the same. That's what we want in our business too, right? Because you want to be in a point where you can predict your clientele, your income stream, all those things. And so you need to have uh, make sure you're carrying out those operations consistently across the board, across all your team members. So first two people you need, mentor and implementer. That implementer is the one doing the work. Once you have that, you're going to go out there and get clients. You need money, right? And this is where Kiwana really demonstrated her expertise. So your idea is I'm going to go get one client, get them in here to do Botox. What you need to do is find out who can get you and what client you need to pitch that's going to get you enough revenue so that you can afford to hire a manager, someone who can manage operations, right? Even your COO, quite frankly. That's how you want to think about this. And another thing she said, another pitfall that we do is we hire generalists. They do a little bit of a lot of different things. And then they end up needing being micromanaged and very task-driven culture. I know some now they meet with their assistant pretty regularly to give them assigned tasks. And Kiwana gave lots of examples on people that she hangs out with, other entrepreneurs, and how they're always having to call and give tasks and check in on things. Whereas and she was really big on this, if they understand the objective, right? I told you, if you understand that we're here to make money, every time you make a pretty picture, a flyer, a video, that's not the end of the task. The task is, did you tag the right people? Did you include a call to action? Did you show people the pain point, why we're even talking about this? Did you demonstrate the transformation they're going to make by watching this? That's how we get to converting the viewer to a paid client. And so they need to know what the objective is here. And part of them knowing the objective is you selling the vision. That's why you have to be able to delegate tasks and roles, because you have to be so focused on selling the vision. And you can only do that when you're free. If you're doing all the work, you're not free to sell the vision. And so what she focused on is making sure everyone understands the objective and giving them the freedom, the creative freedom to identify how they're going to get there. Because if they understand your vision and they're in alignment with that, they will be able to meet that objective. Let them identify the steps that they're going to take to reach that objective. I do that with my producer for the podcast. I say, let's talk about how you do your editing, how you create your emails, how do you do this, how do you do that? What are the steps that you're doing? That's how I'm able to identify, like, oh, let's try to cut those in half, right? To make your life easier, right? Let's not do duplicate work. Look at all the work you've already done. Look at the outcome that we've gotten. Has it been worth it? What changes can we make, right? And then what works for you? I made this suggestion. Did you try it? Did it work? The one you came up with, how did you feel about it? Do you do it that way every day, every week, every time? Giving them that freedom, that ownership so that they're invested in the same thing you're invested in, which is your business and the goal of what your business is, your mission, the vision that you're selling. And you can only do that when you're not the one doing all the work. So build a team, identify the right people, invest in the right people, find out how you can make their life and their job easier. Their job is helping you. First two people on your team should be a mentor and an implementer. And the first deal you should make is one that will get you enough money so you can hire a manager to be in control of all of that, right? And then avoid hiring a generalist. You want someone who's a specialist, someone who's really, really good at their job. The example they gave is Smith & Wesson, the firearm. They used to have 10 different people making the guns. And they got 10 different types of guns. So then it dawned on them, why don't we just have you focus on the pistol, you focus on the handle? And when they did that, they got really good outcomes, because now you're doing the same thing over and over. You perfect it. And then they not only did they get better outcomes, they got more guns in the end. I'm not trying to focus on guns. I'm just saying they were able to get more output. That's the example she gave. So that's the one I have on the top of my head. but they were able to get more output because when a specialist comes in and does something, it's more efficient than someone who it's better to be, well, I'm not going to say that. But one thing I've heard someone say in the past was like when you have a doctorate, for instance, you know a lot about one thing really well. Whereas when you're a generalist, you know a lot, you know a little bit about a lot of things as opposed to a specialist who knows a lot about one thing. And it's like this, right? If you need open heart surgery, you're going to go to a cardiologist who does that every day, not someone who does it 3 times a week. And then sometimes they do plumbing, and then sometimes they go cut grass. You want someone who does this every single day. That's what you want on your team, someone who can execute really efficiently, really effectively with a strategy. So I hope you found this helpful in terms of just like, why are you doing this? What's the objective of your business, and how are you going to get there? You're going to get there with a team, and we're building that team for you. We're building that community at Mahogany Dermatology Nursing Education and Research. As I shared last video, it's like if you come into a room with 100 other NP entrepreneurs, just like you, right? They all have their own med spa. You want to get your med spa. And then you listen to them for a while, like I did, for several years, right? Listening to their pain points. And the pain points never changed year after year, same pain points, even though the resources are of plenty, right? Time and capital are still limited. Confidence still has to be built. Imposter syndrome is still real. Needing someone to answer your next question because your first question is never your last question is still applicable. So you go in that room with 100 NP entrepreneurs, they all have a med spa. You want a med spa too. You step back, you listen to them talk for 5 years. It's 5 years now. Yeah, even more than 5 years. And you realize, oh, they all have the same problem. Why don't I just solve their problem? Why don't I just solve their problem? Because that is the first step in entrepreneurship. Identify a problem you can solve to make people's lives easier. So I looked around that room and I said, they all have a problem. I think I can solve that one. And so that's what we're doing. And I'm excited to take you on that journey, bring you in, and help you live the life you work so hard for. Let's see. Make sure you like, follow, and subscribe if you haven't already. Let me know if you could add one person to your team today. Who would it be? Let me know below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. You can follow me every week on Sundays. I drop a new video at 12:15 a.m. For this Nurse Practitioner Entrepreneur series. There's a whole playlist on how to get your first job in dermatology. And every Monday, we drop a new blog on the Mahogany Dermatology blog. This month, we covered Jade's introduction, our first monthly reflection of her experience as an intern with me. The latest report on the aesthetics industry, big one there. And then we wrap up the series that I started, a 3-part series on skin of color and aesthetics with talking about the Fitzpatrick skin typing and what it means when we're really what we really mean when we talk about skin of color. You can still register for the Diversity in Dermatology Conference, March 27th to the 30th in Louisville, Kentucky. We do have a referral code for our DMP Dermatology and PPA friends and Derm MPs and PAs of Atlanta. As you know, we are trying to make it our way to the SDPA conference in DC in June. Of course, we have to represent DMV, and we're working on a referral code there for you all. Surprise. And yeah, I think that's all I have. Thank you for joining me for Batch Content Night. We're going to try to do one more. So if you're here and you want to stick around, I will see you then. Otherwise, I'll see you on the replay. Thank you all for watching. See you next time.